Hello everyone, this is Redact and this game is called Dagon. This is a Lovecraftian inspired narrative game. I think it's more like a novel that you play rather than a game itself. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll figure it out as we go along. Let's play Dagon or read Dagon or get it read to us or something. Let's see. Dagon is a faithful, interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. The movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot. Got it. Thank goodness for that. I don't have to make any decisions, or do it, or click any buttons or anything. It's my sort of game.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
I do have to click buttons, apparently. So... oh, I can look up and down. Oh, lovely. You need to clean up a little bit, man. Ah. Stuff. What do you want me to interact with? I'm confused already. I thought I was told there would be no interacting. Is that drugs? Probably. During the game, you encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others will reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the elder sign. What is an elder sign? Ah, it's like a tree branch thing. All right.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Got it. You can't get your morphine or whatever it is. Let's have a look around. Anything down there? See.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Alright, buddy. So there's a thing there. Oh, there's a thing there. Is there a thing there? No. Look at this thing. Seeker, find the first piece of trivia. Morphine. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. Frederick Turner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium after Morpheus, Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. Oh dear. You can read the discovered trivia immediately, or go back to them later in the main menu. Turn off displaying trivia if you find that feature distracts you from the story. You can change at any time in the options. That's fine. Show the trivia. What else do we have? Nothing. He said read the pages. I guess we look at this.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Look around. That's pretty game. So we're on a tanker. That looks like a... It doesn't look like a warship. I'm sure you're remembering things correctly. We could look at that. Anything else? Anything on the ground? Is that a thing? No, that's not a thing.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation. So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Yeah, that's an old German flag, isn't it? Are we on board that ship now? Can't look behind me. What is that? What is that? The Huns. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids, who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as pseudonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on 27th July 1900 before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just as 1,000 years ago the Huns under their King Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Interesting. What else are we looking at?
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
You sure that's a good idea, buddy? I'm not convinced this is a good idea, you know. Anything else? Nothing else?
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Oh, damn. Maybe we should have stayed on the boat. What's that? Is that the sun or the moon? It's something. There's something in the sky. Should we be worried about it?
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Not looking good, buddy. What is in that sack? Can I eat it? What is that? Don't know. I hope it's booze of some description. We could row, you know. Maybe not.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
Yeah, I can imagine you going mad, being in the sea on your own, not knowing what's going to happen.
The change happened whilst I slept.
Oh no. What change? This is when you go completely mad. Have you been drinking the salt water?
Its details I shall never know. For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Oh fuck. What is that? I don't want to look at it. What is that? Why is it doing a thing? Oh shit. We've landed somewhere. That's my boat. Is it a boat or is it a ship? It's a boat. It's a boat. Pretty sure it's a boat. Alright, fine.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Fear? Oh shit.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Oh no. What are you? Gosh, what is that? No, I don't want to look at it. Alright, that progresses it. Figured out what that symbol is. Fine, I'll look at it. Origins of Dagon. Dagon seems to be inspired by Fishhead, short novel by Irvin S. Cobb about unnatural affinities between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake. Supernatural horror in literature, H.P. Lovecraft. And Lovecraft's dream about a strange island emerging from the ocean and him crawling in the ooze that covered its surface. I dream that whole hideous crawl and can yet feel the ooze sucking me down. In defense of Dagon, H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft's interest in the topic stemmed from his aversion to fish and sea smells. In his own words, I have hated fish and feared the sea and everything connected with it since I was 2 years old. But I cannot recall what early experience gave me such a profound and lasting aversion to the sea and seafood. The Dweller in the Darkness, Lovecraft, 1927. Donald Bandry. Big cockroach or something. Probably. You're an octopus. Probably. I'm not an expert. Anything.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths. So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
The dead things? They're not dead. Sorry to tell you that. Oh no. Well, that progresses. To look for something else. Can I look at you? Can I look at you? Can I look at you? No, there doesn't seem to be anything. What is that? What is that? It's moving. This is not good.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for travelling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Look at that. They're still moving around. I can't imagine you got any sleep. Anything? There's nothing.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
The odour of the fish was maddening. I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight and evil. Set out boldly for an unknown goal. Oh, we carry on going that way. Guess so. Can't look at anything else.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Gotta keep going that way. What is that? Don't want to know what that is. Yeah, don't want to know. I don't want to know. Oh no. Is that a whale? This, what is this? What is this? Nothing, nothing, nothing.
That night I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
We're heading towards whatever that is. That's too big. That tentacle's far too big. What is this? What is that? The horrors of the ocean. The creator of the Cthulhu mythos and the fictional underwater city of Relay was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean. The water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many particular organisms. Deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far. The marionette snailfish can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet below the ocean's surface. Never-ending darkness and under hellishly crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. When glancing at the modern photos of deep-sea creatures, such as the anglerfish, the fangtooth, or the viperfish, I do not want to meet any of these. And their truly Lovecraftian characteristics. Hard not to find some irony in this. Yes, indeed. What else am I looking at? Let's go. Quickly.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. an intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain.
Gibbous? Don't know what that means.
I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
Why? Why?
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
That's my pack, I imagine. Anything else around? No.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night. Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost.
Of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
What? That's a worrying thing to say.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent.
Do we want to descend?
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
The declivity, you say? Alright. Go there. Do I see anything else? Probably not.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
Is this a good idea? I feel like it's not a good idea to go to the mysterious... Even is it? Not a good idea. We should turn back.
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Yeah, please don't go there. Good, you're not going there. What is that? Oh, you're going there, aren't you? Ugh. Fine.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
No! It's stone, but look at it. It's obviously been made. Don't just come across something like that.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
Not altogether the work of nature? Are you psychotic? That is obviously been made by something intelligent. I want to go back. Take me back.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
I'm speechless. No, we're not going to go to the Stygian monolithic thing. Fine.
For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Are you going to rely on me to examine a bit more closely, are you? Well, we'll see about that. There was a thing there. Look at the thing. Right, so I'm not looking more closely. Good.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
There's writing on it, or pictures, or something. We really shouldn't go near it.
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Fine, we'll look at it.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books. Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
What was it about it that held you spellbound? What is that? Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, journals, and characters' notes, islands emerging from the ocean, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon. But let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. Yes, please. Please tell me what happens. Come on. Do I have to look at that? Oh my goodness. Fine.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself. I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size.
We really don't want to meet something that's as big as a whale.
But in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born. Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Saw what? Oh, fuck.
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh fuck.
Polyphemus-like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds. I think I went mad then. Of my frantic ascent of the sloping cliff and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
No, we've gone all wibbly, haven't we? But, yeah.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Yeah, let's get away from it. I can't see if the thing's chasing me.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital. Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
What do we have here? A thing. Journalist. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative. It included political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and literary criticism written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry, concentrate on weird fiction again, the first time since his teenage years. Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. In this example excerpt from The Conservative, the master of horror fiction explains his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than the Conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations would undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of the more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in the wild career of a conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or ever can be above warfare, till the basic impulses of the human animal shall have miraculously changed. Sad but true. We leave the hospital. Yes. Oh, monkeys.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Look at Dagon. What else do we have? Nout, just that. Dagon, huh? Dagon, the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon, or Dagan, was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as a patron saint of their war conquests. The author appeared as a judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistaken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name. In Hebrew, the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. Humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. Is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. We could progress there, can we? This is my house. It's a nice house. It's a big house. I like it. Can we stay here rather than go to the sea?
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
What is that? Don't know. Have a look. What is that? August Deleff was an American writer and ophologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works for his company Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Deleff was a devout Catholic. With the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror, as a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. I'm not sure what all that means. It's also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Deleff after the author left the mortal plane. Interesting. What are we looking at? Any secrets? Oh, there's a thing there. That's progression. Alright, let's go to the thing there. What? What is that? What is that? Why am I standing over here? A little worrying. Why am I looking at this? What happened? Nothing there. Nothing there. Can't look over to my... too far to my left. Right, we'll go here.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
Gibbous? The thing? What's the thing?
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease. and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Right, so you want to take the morphine, do you? What is this? Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult. His correspondence with a friend, Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. My goodness. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to Zelia Brown, 1928. As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor, and never intend to. I'm a strong, basic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Drinking excited my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favour of prohibition, the prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as any other. Nothing. Alright.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply.
What hideously vivid vision?
I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed. Worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite.
There's a thing in the water!
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
We're doomed. Look at the moon. Oh, and there's all... Are these ships or are these like monsters? I think they're monsters.
The end is near.
What was that? What is that?
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
No. Can I take more morphine? No.
It shall not find me. God, that hand!
Oh shit!
The window! The window!
Run! Run! Didn't get me. Escape the madness. Yes. Thank you for playing. We hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in a little pool of cosmic horror. Reset if you took a moment to raid Dagon and check out our other games and DLCs. Blah 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 blah. That was Dagon. Just a little bit of fun, I guess, rather than... I prefer reading, but no, it was an interesting experience for 30 minutes. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the book. And I'll be back with another video very soon. Take care, everyone.